Getting there. So here's what I'm trying to do here a little bit is we did epoxy. Hopefully, I don't know. I try to post videos sometimes, but our internet and reception here isn't that good. So anyway, so I'll try to post a video on the epoxy stuff. But essentially, we did some epoxy to try to fill in some gaps, just joinery gaps on the inserts and stuff. Filled it full of walnut. Now, this is kind of my first foray into epoxy. Interesting enough, the Rack and Stack people told me how to avoid this, and so I'm going to do it next time. But essentially what this is it didn't really, I wouldn't really necessarily call that a stain to the wood, but in a way it is, because what has happened is the epoxy is got into the pores in here, into the wood, and of course it's not everywhere, so that kind of, put that in there. So what I'm trying to do is, this is actually raised just a little bit. So what I'm trying to do, of course, is sand it down. Now this side over here was looked like that about, I don't know, about 20 minutes ago. And of course I got it down a lot better. The epoxy's done a really good job. I still have a couple of pinholes I have to fill here and there, but other than that, the epoxy did a really good job of sealing up those cracks. Got another one here. Some of the cracks were rather deep, so I don't know, but also was able to stabilize all of these, which was really nice. But again, I kind of poured it on there. You can still see just a little bit of the hump. What I'm worried about, of course, is the Osmo, and I may put Osmo on this just to kind of protect it a little bit. But I'm worried a little bit about the Osmo looking different, right, on the wood where the epoxy was and where the wood is, type of thing. So kind of working along my way to try to get rid of that little stain area there. So working on it. The other thing to show you here is we did have some pretty punky wood up here, which means it was soft, semi-rotten, right? So usually punky means rotten, but yeah. Semi-rotten would probably be a fine statement. Anyway, I don't know really what that is. I got a little ridge there because I'm trying to do a couple things here. So essentially, that kind of is interesting. I don't know if I'm going to get rid of that or not. I don't know if I really like the blue tint to it, even though I dyed the wood, the epoxy with the walnut. Anyway, so whatever. But I do like the bug holes look a little bit different. We'll have to see what they look like with some Osmo on there. So essentially what I'm doing is I'm hitting it with the 50 grit sandpaper to take it down, and then scuffing it up again with the chisels. So because what happens is it smooths all out and the sandpaper doesn't get it anymore. So scuff it all up with the chisel again, and then hit it with the sandpaper and just keep going back and forth until I can get as much as that raised epoxy removed as possible. So that's kind of my hope. Anyway, that's what I'm working on.